Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and the cards I presented. Please like and subscribe, and always remember, you got to catch them all. Have a great day. Check out this 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Primeape, the number 43 card of the set. Looking at the front of the graphics, they're clean and crisp. The surface shows no creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right looks a little to the right, and our centering from top to bottom I think is within the tolerance. Looking at the corners and our edges, I do not see any damage. As we look to the back of the card, you can see that our centering from left to right is a little towards the left. Our top to bottom centering looks within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, I see that the upper left corner and the two right corners have some specks of damage. Looking at our surface of the card, I do not see any creases, bends, scratches, or any other problems. And the grade we'll get will be a mint 9. That's pretty darn good. Let's look at this 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Rhydon, the number 45 card of this set. This card looks really nice. I like the graphics of Rhydon. I think he looks pretty cool. Our surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, left to right, I think those are all within the tolerances. Checking out our corners and our edges, I think they're clean and free of any damage. Taking a look at the back of the card, you can see that there's no creases, bends, or scratches or any other problems with the card. Surface, looking at our centering from left to right and top to bottom, I think those are all within the tolerances. Looking at our corners and our edges, the only thing I can see is some very, very slight damage on that lower left corner. Almost negligible. And the grade we're going to get is a mint 9. That card really deserved that grade. I was almost thinking it could have been a 10. Here is a 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Seaking, the number 46 card. This card is very clean. There's no scratches, creases, or bends. I really like the clean surface of this card. Our centering from left to right looks a little to the left. Top to bottom centering looks a little to the bottom. Our corners and our edges I think are clean and show no damage. Flip the card over and look to the back, and you can see that our surface shows no damage like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from top to bottom is a little bit towards the bottom. Our centering from left to right I think is within the tolerances. Looking at the corners and the edges, the upper left corner has a very small speck of damage, and I think I see some very, very slight specks down that right edge. And that's going to get us a grade of mint 9. I'll take it. Not too bad. We're looking at a 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Tauros, the number 47 card. Looking at the front of this card, I think the graphics are great. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface. Our centering from top to bottom looks a little towards the top, and left to right centering I think is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, they're really crisp and free of any damage. We always take a look at the back of the card, and we'll start with the centering from left to right, and that is quite a bit towards the left. Our centering from top to bottom I think is within the tolerance. Looking at the surface of the card, I do not see any creases, bends, or scratches. Looking at our corners and our edges, they are actually nice and clean and free of any damage. And that's going to get us a grade of mint 9. That's a pretty darn good grade. Let me show you this 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Weepinbell, the number 48 card of the set. Looking at the front of this card, I like it. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface. Graphics look bright and clean. The centering from left to right I think is within tolerance. Centering from top to bottom is towards the top. Looking at the corners and the edges, I do not find any damage. Flipping the card over and looking at the back, our surface is very clean. No scratches, creases, or bends. Our centering from left to right I think is within the tolerance. Looking at our centering from top to bottom, it looks a little towards the top. Looking at the corners and the edges, the upper right corner and that upper edge have a couple specks of damage. And the grade we're going to get is a mint 9. I'll take it. You're looking at a 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Bellsprout, the number 49 card. Looking at the front of this card, we'll start with our centering from left to right. It looks a little to the right. Top to bottom centering I think is within the spec. Looking at our surface, I think it's clean and free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Looking at our corners and our edges, they are nice and crisp and show no damage. Let's look at the back of the card, and our centering from left to right looks within the tolerance. Our top to bottom centering looks like it's slightly to the top. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper right corner and that right edge has some slight damage. Looking at our surface, I do not see any damage like creases, bends, or scratches. And the grade we're going to get for a Bellsprout is Mint 9. That old card of 23 years did pretty good. This card is a 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Cubone, the number 50 card. Looking at the front of this card, we'll start with our centering from left to right. It's a little bit towards the left. Top to bottom centering, I think, is pretty close to the spec, maybe a little to the top. Our corners and our edges look really clean. There's no damage on them. Looking at our surface of the card, the graphics and the surface look nice with no creases, bends, or scratches. The back of the card looks really clean. The surface is very nice with no scratches, creases, or bends. Our centering from left to right is quite a bit towards the left, and top to bottom centering I think is within the tolerance. Looking at our corners and our edges, the lower left corner and both right corners have some slight damage. And Cubone will receive a grade of near mint 8. Not too bad. Let's check out this 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Eevee, the number 51 card of the set. The graphics are very vibrant. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface of this card. Our centering from left to right I think is close or within the tolerance. Our top to bottom centering looks a little to the bottom. Looking at the corners and the edges, I think they're clean and free of any damage. Looking to the back of the card, you can see our surface shows no damage like creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right I think is within the tolerance, and top to bottom centering looks really close to the tolerance or within. Looking at our corners and our edges, it looks like the two left corners and the upper right corner and maybe a little on that upper edge all show a little damage. We'll get a grade of near mint 8. I think Eevee deserved that 8, a solid 8. We are looking at a 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Exeggcute, the number 52 card. Looking at the front of this card, I like the graphics. The surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right I think is all within the tolerances or really close. Looking at the corners and the edges, I did not see any damage. Let's take a gander at the back of the card, and our centering from left to right looks a little to the right. Top to bottom centering I think is really close to the tolerance, maybe a little to the top. Looking at the corners and the edges, I see some slight damage down on that lower right corner and maybe that lower left corner. And the grade we're going to get is a grade of mint 9. That's a good grade for that card. I'm showing you this 1999 Pokemon Jungle Set Goldeen, the number 53 card. Looking at the front of this card, the colors and the graphics are vibrant. There's no scratches, creases, or bends on the surface. Our centering from top to bottom and left to right, I think left to right's within the tolerance, and top to bottom it looks a little towards the top, maybe within the tolerance or maybe without. Looking at our corners and our edges, I did not find any damage. Let's flip this card over and look at the back. Our surface is free of any creases, bends, or scratches. Our centering from left to right looks pretty close to tolerance, maybe a little to the left. Our top to bottom centering, again, looks really close to tolerance, but it's a little towards the top, maybe taking us out. Looking at our corners and our edges, the upper right corner has some damage. And we'll get a good grade of mint 9. Man, that's pretty darn good. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and the cards I presented. Please like and subscribe, and always remember, you got to catch them all. Have a great day.